Hey guys, this is Luke from Casual Game Time, and today I'm going to bring you some Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. Right now I'm playing around a little bit on a PTR, and I think I found a pretty nice build. It revolves around a physical element, and yeah, I think I'm just going to show you real quick what I come up with, and we're going to take a look at the gear and the skills. And I'm hopefully going to release a gameplay video tomorrow, and of course you can just come pass by my stream and you can see some gameplay there. Of course, I'm gonna link all of that in the description. I'm also going to write up the gear that I propose for the build in the description, because I myself sadly don't have the gear yet. So if there are people out there that have like all the gear on PTR, they can just test this build out if they want, and I'm going to write down what I would think are the best in slots item for this build. Okay, this gem is what it all revolves around. The Pain Enhancer gem. This causes the enemies to bleed for 1230 weapon damage, and this scales up by 30% per rank. So you can get a pretty good amount on that gem. The secondary, which unlocks at rank 25, is nice to have, but I would say it's not that necessary. While we're talking about these gems, I think we can also talk about the other gems I would use. Obviously the Pain Enhancer, and I'm using the Moratorium because it helps you a lot with survivability. You don't really have a lot of means to regenerate health. So right now I'm only having 8,000. I only have 8,000 life per hit, and I have like no life regen basically, and I don't have any healing skills. So basically you want to try to lose your health as slowly as possible so you can regenerate through your life on hit. Obviously this setup is not really the nicest thing to have, what I have right now. That's why I also only really feel comfortable on T5 right now. T6 is okay, I can do it with like 2-3 deaths, and I can reach up to Greater Rift 23, 24, something around there. Okay, let's get to the gear, I guess. Right now I'm using the Aughilds 2 set, the Raiment 2 set, and I dumped the Canes because I'm using Depth Diggers now. So basically the core items for this spec are the Depth Diggers. You want as much damage on your primary attack that you can get, because your primary attack does the most damage, or is your main damage dealer, together with the Sweeping Winds, which is also why I would propose, if you haven't seen yet, there's a new seasonal legendary, which is a fist weapon that increases your stacks you can have in Sweeping Wind by 3. It was 5 to 7, but I nerfed it to 3, so you can have up to 6 stacks on your Sweeping Wind. If you get that weapon, it's really nice, obviously, if you can get it, and I would use it together with the Doombringer, because the Doombringer has physical damage and is a one-hander as well. Also, a thing to consider is to maybe have some life on hit on at least one of the weapons. I don't have it right now on my weapon, but if you have life on hit on one of these fist weapons with the attack speed of 2 one-handers, you get a lot of life back, and if you manage to level up your Moratorium gem a little bit more, I think you can sustain pretty well. Best in slot for the belt is the Witching Hour right now. I actually do have that, so belt and pants are Witching Hour and Depth Diggers. For gloves, I would actually propose Stone Gauntlets, because they have life on hit and they have a chance to control your enemies. Let's say we swap these out with Stone Gauntlets. These are not Stone Gauntlets, but I'm gonna swap these out just to pretend they are. For shoulders, I would say you should use the Ashearas together with the boots. So you have the Asheara set, gives you a nice amount of survivability. You don't really need to 4 set, but the 3 set and 2 set are really nice for survivability. For chest and bracers, you get the Aughilds, again really nice 2 and 3 set. So you basically get the Asheara set and the Aughilds set. As a helmet, I would propose an Andariel's Visage, just because you can get physical damage on there. I don't have it, obviously, but I'm gonna switch this one in right here. So these are just placeholders right now, and these are pretty shitty, so I'm gonna have to craft new ones of these. So basically you want to try to get Aughilds bracers with physical percent damage. You want an amulet, preferably an elemental resist amulet, like fire, arcane, or poison, I think they are. You want these with physical resist, crit chance, and dex and the socket. Basically I have a pretty perfect one right here. If it would be an elemental resist, it would be really nice, but the clones are also good, so I'm pretty confident with the amulet. You want the Andariel's Visage with 20% physical damage. You want the shoulders, really nice Ashearas with vitality, dex, life percent, and all-res. You want the stone gauntlets with crit chance and dex and attack speed. You want the chest with 3 sockets, dex, vit, and all-res, and the witching hour, of course, the depth diggers, and the boots, just standard boots with move speed, all-res, dex, and vit. And as for rings, you want a ring of royal grandeur, and you want either a Stone of Jordan with 20% bonus damage, or a Unity if you have 2 of them, to put one on your Templar, and together with the invulnerability token you will have 50% damage reduction, which would be really nice, but I don't have it, sadly. And basically the weapons, like I said already, the fist weapon that increases your sweeping wind stacks, and the Doombringer. What I am running with so far is the Aughilds, the Raiment, and cane boots, just because they are nice, because they have a nice roll, so I took them. And I have these bracers, which give me physical percent damage, and I get damage reduction while enemies are stunned. Why this is important, I'm gonna come to later. And obviously, yeah, my weapon, the Stargard's Decimator got a buff. The axes that pierce deal a little more damage, and they're really nice. I like them. They look fun, and they're fun to play with. Okay, let's go over the skills. Basically, like I said, your primary skill damage dealers are your Deadly Reach and your Sweeping Wind. Deadly Reach, I would propose Foresight. Piercing Trident also is a physical rune, but I found the small mobs that you can knock up, because you can't knock up champions, elites, or the Rift Guardians, or the big mobs even. The small mobs just die to your Sweeping Wind, so you don't really need to knock up. And the area of effect also applies. The small mobs just really die, so you don't really need the area effect, and 15% damage is just really good. Also worth a consideration would probably be Wave the 100 Fists. Since you don't really have any procs you have to get off, I think you can just choose whatever you like best. I like Deadly Reach a lot. I like Crippling Wave a lot. I'm not a big fan of Wave the 100 Fists, but you just have to play around with it, and I think you can just find one that you like the most. But basically you have these 3 options. I like Deadly Reach, Foresight, Crippling Wave, Breaking Wave, and Wave the 100 Fist, Assimilation. As a secondary skill, this is your crowd control ability. Wave of Light, Wall of Light stuns enemies and deals a good amount of damage. Also is supported by your physical skill. What you maybe could consider is some single target damage, or maybe single target damage to a 7-sided Psych-Sustained attack, but I found that pretty underwhelming. Maybe you want to run Cyclone Strike with any rune, basically. Maybe you want to run Exploding Palm, which is pretty nice. Or you could run a defensive skill like Blinding Flash or Serenity. That's pretty much up to you. I just found the Wave of Light really nice for the stun, to crowd control. You can crowd control blue enemies, they get stunned as well, and it does a nice amount of damage, and it dumps your spirit really well. As for a mantra, you can basically run anything if you are tanky enough. If you're not tanky enough, you can run Mantra of Salvation, Perseverance, or Hard Target, or you can Mantra of Healing, with mostly Boon of Inspiration, because you get a lot of life on hit through there. That's pretty nice. Depends on what weapons you have later. Yeah, you could run that, or if you want to go more offensive, you can run Mantra of Conviction, obviously, for more damage. Then right here on the third slot, I would probably put Epiphany, just because the 50% damage reduction is really nice, and you can actually dump the spirit really nicely with your Wall of Light. If you have it up against the Rift Guardian, for example, you can just dump the Wave of Light on him, and it does a good amount of damage, and you get a 50% damage reduction. You could also maybe run something else there, but I would propose just Desert Shroud, I guess, because they removed the attack speed rune, which would have been another thing to consider. Then, of course, you want the Sweeping Wind, Blade Storm, which does all your damage, or most of your damage, and it's just really cool to use, I think. I like this skill a lot, and I like that I buffed it a bit. And, of course, some movement skill here, basically Dashing Strike you can use with any rune you want. Basically, if you want Quicksilver for an extra charge, or you want extra attack speed, or you want extra damage, you can use everything right here. Yeah, that's basically it. Take a look at the gem, the third gem I would probably use if I had another slot. I would consider using the Gogok of Swiftness, the Simplicity Strength, or the Bane of the Trapped if you're running the Wall of Light. I would probably start using the Simplicity Strength if I had another socket here. Okay, that was it from me. I think I've showed the gear pretty well. I'm gonna put the gear in the description again with the best in slot items. And I hope you get a nice try out of this build and hopefully have a little more gear than me. I'm going to keep working on it, and maybe if I finish the build before the patch comes out on live, I'm going to be able to show you the build in full in action. And yeah, like I said, check out my stream if you want to see some gameplay. I'm going to upload probably one Rift with this build tomorrow, and I guess see you next time. Until then, bye.